don't think anybody, including our fan base, are afraid to be the villains. So I think that I think that's what makes this play special, is that starting with our coaching staff and our players, we enjoy getting in a fight. And
I mean, to see our student body rush down and fill the bottom part of the section, the remainder of our crowd to be amped up for the final minute of play, like, that's the takeaway. And I know for some guys, for some people, the story is what happened. And, you know, our administration has obviously made it clear that that's not the stance and what we want from the volunteer spirit. You know that I feel the same way. That's a very few number. Man, the passion, energy from our fan base. I've been in a lot of competitive arenas as a player and as a coach. There was nothing better that I've ever been in than what happened on Saturday night.
Boys, that gave me chills. That gives me chills hearing him say that. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Dauber.
And I'm the Andy Kid.
Said before we went live, I've been there, done that, spent my fair share of Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays without a voice because I gave my all. But look, we're going to talk about the Ole Miss game. We're going to talk a little bit about the SEC and what they've done. We're going to get into Alabama, but there's only one way to start this show.
We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. We're from Tennessee. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. We're from Tennessee.
Let's go ahead and get it out of the way bright and early. I think it's safe to say the three of us do not give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. Win or lose, I don't care what the point spread is. I don't give a damn. Andy Kid, I know you don't. Dauber, I know you don't. Let's run down the chat. See who's hanging out here for Talkin VAWLS live. John Hill in the house says, let's hear some Talkin VAWLS. Smashing that like button. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. As folks begin to roll in, welcome to the show. Do make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. If you're new, you're wondering what this is. We're not experts. We're not insiders. This is for the fans, by the fans. We're just like you guys. We are fans. Josh Sparkman is here. He says, I'm here. I'm here. We can officially start the show because Josh is here. Welcome, Josh. JJ Reviews in the house. He's been making fun of Joe Milton all week. That's fine if he wants to do that. It says Joe Milton threw the golf ball. It's the most accurate pass of his career, I would assume. Wes McLaughlin in the house. Jay Barnett in the house talking about Hendon Hooker. Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to discuss it. Wayne Starnes here. Welcome, Wayne. Laughing at Dauber. Dauber's giving us all. He's gonna try to make it through the show. Aaron Brown in the house. Blitz 621 in the house. Alan V. Troll Patrol. Uncle Alan, glad to see you in the house tonight. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I want to kick things off. Obviously, you can tell by the way that Dauber is talking. He gave his all on Saturday night. So I want to start by saying, what was the atmosphere like? Like, give us your firsthand experience being inside of Neyland Stadium, Checker Neyland, the changes to running through the tee. Man, it looked great on TV, but what was it like there live in person?
It was electric there in person. The lights, all of that stuff. The pyrotechnics that they've got after the scores, the intro running through the tee, having the tee illuminated for a night game. It was really cool. But the thing that makes Neyland what it is the fans. And when the fans are there and they're loud, that place is electric. I saw, I don't know how many tweets and things from players or recruits or people that were there that were talking about, man, Vol Nation, when they show up, there's nothing that compares to it. Man, it was a good time. Wish that things would have turned out a little bit different. And I think a lot of my voice that I left in Knoxville had to do with the way the game was going. But, man, this team is definitely trending in the right direction. To have a fan base that shows up, at 9 a.m. for a 7:30 kick, and they're there all day, and they're there engaged for 60 minutes. It was great. It reminded me a lot of games when I was in school. So, getting back to that kind of atmosphere.
Cody Branch for $2 says Saban will retire in 2 years. Sanctions on Bama. Is that true? I've not seen any of that. Surely to goodness that's not true. Sanctions on Bama. They can do whatever they want.
Sanctions on Bama.
I was going to say they can do whatever they want. But thank you for the super chat, Cody. We appreciate that. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. We'll kind of go through the Ole Miss game. Obviously, the hot topic, the news. You got to talk about what happened at the end of that football game. Indy Kid and myself did the post-game show. We already talked about it, kind of voiced our opinions and talked about why it happened. And of course, people ignore the fact that we both said we don't agree with it. It doesn't need to happen, but here's why it happened. People choose to ignore that. But let's talk about the SEC office and what they did this week, because they come out and they fined Tennessee $250,000. Meanwhile, there's no mention of the officiating crew and the calls that they missed. And, I think most people know by now it's the same officiating crew that screwed Mississippi State against Memphis. They screwed Arkansas against Auburn last season. They screwed Georgia State against Auburn just a couple of weeks ago. This crew is a disgrace, but it's just par for the course for the SEC and what they do. Indy Kid, you said in the day after video, you talked about how there's no accountability for these refs. Expand on that a little bit and talk about, some of the things that you said in the day after.
Where are they interviewed at? Where do you see referees getting interviewed? Coaches, players have to answer for when they make mistakes. Why do referees not? Why is the ref not here to answer, hey, why was that call overturned? Hey, the whistle did not blow. Why did you go overturn? There's no accountability. I said it on the post game, and I'll say it either way. And I'm going to make it clear. This is both sides when I say this. This is not one side or the other. Referees are politicians with stripes. That's what they are. They screw up all the time, and they have no accountability for it. That's what referees are. These referees suck. Tennessee had chances to win that game, but the bottom line is, this is the bottom line. The trash throwing, the stoppage of play for 20 minutes does not happen if the referees do their job.
And you're talking about the SEC that is $1 billion company. They make billions of dollars every single year. And again, you go back and look at the team, and this is just a handful. This has been going on for years. If JP was here, he'd go on a rant. He'd talk about the SEC offices being in Birmingham, and he would go off the deep end like he always does. But it's true. And you go and you look at the teams that get screwed. The SEC protects their ranked teams time and time and time again. And not only ranked teams, but again, Mississippi State over Memphis. What are they doing? They're protecting their own. Arkansas and Auburn, they're going to protect a higher ranked team. Georgia State against Auburn, they're going to protect their team. It happens over and over and over. But, they talked a lot about this on VolQuest this week. And, talking about the last play of the game and the spot. And Indy Kid, you and I were kind of in agreement on the post game. I thought he was short. You thought he was short. But the bottom line is there's no real camera view to determine whether or not he's short. There's no camera view. And, you look at the official that spotted the ball. He's 25 yards downfield when the play ends. He's in nowhere near close to being in position to make that call, make that spot, put the football where it belongs. But, Austin Price made some good points. It's 2021. I can call somebody in Russia right now on my phone, and we can talk face-to-face instantly. But you can't put a camera in the chains. You can't put a chip in the football. Yeah. Austin Price, his point was, we watch the PGA every week. And every week they track a golf ball that goes 300 yards in the air. They track the flight pattern. You can't track where a football's at. Dauber, what does the SEC have to do to get this right? And it's not a Tennessee problem. It's a problem all across the conference.
If the SEC wants to claim that they are the best football conference, then they need to have the best officials officiating the best football. And right now, you hear week to week, there are missed, and don't get me wrong, missed calls happen. It's part of human error in the game. But these egregious calls and these crews that are still together that keep messing up in games. They keep making mistakes and they're allowed to come back. Like Indy Kid said, where's the accountability? How many times can you as an official affect the outcome of a game? That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be there to officiate the game. Let the players are the ones that decide the outcome, not you.
It's bad enough when you're at a middle school football game. Saw it a couple of weeks ago. My daughter cheers for the middle school. And, you know, these officials that are getting paid, what, $20, $25? I don't know what they're getting paid. And they take control of a game because they're pissed at a coach. And I get it. You're two adults. But at the end of the day, who suffers? The kids. And it's the same thing here. That team, that Tennessee football team, went out and they fought. They competed for 60 minutes. And like the Indy Kid said just a few minutes ago, they had opportunities. They had chances to make plays. We're not taking anything away from Ole Miss. But the reality of the situation is the officiating crew stacked the deck and made it pretty dang difficult for that Tennessee team.
But here's the thing. The officials had the opportunity to get the calls right as well, and they didn't. Because there were opportunities for review. And they huddled together.
It's just like the no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, they huddled together for, man, sitting there, standing, watching the game live. They huddled together for 2 or 3 minutes trying to figure out that should have been a strip fumble and then said it was nothing. Why?
It's just like it's just like the Pitt game when they didn't review Hooker's spot.
Yeah.
I would think they have the autonomy to review what they need to review.
Well, here's the thing. The NFL, if it's a scoring play, which that ended up being a scoring play, they tell them to play it out. It's a scoring play, so then it's all reviewed.
Well, look at the strip fumble that got ran back for a touchdown. They let it play out and then just pretended that they didn't. Every official was tracking the ball to the end zone.
The guy standing 10 feet from corral ran down the field.
Yeah. They were all tracking down the field. There was no and you know, you can tell Heupel's irritated. They ask him, he takes the high road and doesn't really go into it. But he kind of said, you guys know where I stand on that play. We all know. Ole Miss fans know what happened on that play. Let me hit these couple of super chats here. Philip Scout for $10. Thank you, Philip, for the super chat. Says, my tone would be different if someone had really gotten hurt. I think what happened will help push in the right direction. A lot of people in the national media are really calling for accountability. Yeah, that's talking about Ole Miss players dropping like flies. It is trending. Everybody's talking about it. I think Sankey even said something about trying to get that fixed going into next year, whether it's sitting out a series, sitting out a handful of plays. You can only substitute the injured player. The bottom line is I think they're going to get that fixed in the offseason. Evan counts for 10. Thank you, Evan, for the super chat. Says they don't have a good camera angle for the spot, but Sankey wants UT to go back and review the cameras to see who was throwing water bottles. Get the hell out of here, Sankey. Yeah, come on. You can't do a review to make the right call on the field, but you want to review cameras and arrest people for throwing water bottles. Give me a break. And again, that's not me defending those actions, but again, so where was the comments? Where was the commentary? Why are we not talking about the officiating crew and just how terrible they were? But yet we're worried about who threw the water bottles. That's what Sankey's concern is, putting Tennessee in a negative light, as always.
Or the blatant cheating that Ole Miss did to kill the momentum, kill the tempo, allow for substitutions, basically getting 10 plus extra timeouts.
That's awesome. That's an underrated comment right there.
He's going to call somebody a yellow egg sucking dog here in a few minutes.
Cactus Jack. Oh, man. But, I mean, honestly, are any of us really surprised by this? I don't think any of us are really surprised.
No, it was – I mean, I hate to sound like sour grapes or sore loser, but, man, that touchdown was a big deal that was taken off the board, and there's no
You lose the game
viable
by 5
explanation.
points. You lose the
Yeah.
game by 5 points.
Yeah.
That's a ball game right there.
Yeah. I mean, that changes things. That changes momentum. I mean, who knows? Maybe the safety doesn't happen, but still yet.
Well,
Just,
and like you said, there were opportunities for Tennessee. We missed a 49-yard field goal that would have put us in position where we didn't have to drive for a touchdown, that we could have kicked another field goal to win the game. But, it's just it's not that it's bad calls. It's the egregious calls.
Well, it's like any kid said, though. Yeah, it does. You talk about the safety, and that the safety turned into 9 points, and what could have, should have, would have been. But to go back to Indy Kid's point, you're talking about momentum. That's a game changer.
well, and everything was just a culmination. That 20-minute delay was a culmination of the strip that wasn't called, all the flopping. Let's face it, Kiffin being in town, emotions were high, I'm sure, for that. It was just a culmination, not taking up for it, wished it hadn't happened. But, all these people want to trash Tennessee, the whole fan base, over what, maybe 1,000 people or so did. It's culmination. It's, time after time, just garbage calls like that. And again, I'm not saying it cost them the game, but it was big. It was big. And again, none of that happens if the officials just do their freaking job.
Well, like you said, you're talking maybe 1,000, maybe out of 102,000. You're talking about what? I mean, just a fraction. And then, like you said, they're labeling all the Tennessee fans. You're just that 1,000 is just a small fraction of who was there in attendance. But you knew that was going to be the story coming out of this game. The media, that's what the media was going to do with it. That's what the media does.
And of course, there is some stuff on Twitter and a lot of people claiming that it began in the upper deck over the student section in Double G, I think, where the Ole Miss allotment of tickets start. And it started when they thought the third or the fourth down play was going to be overturned to give Tennessee a first down. And then the students and the band and cheerleaders, they're having stuff rain down on them. So they just start joining and they're throwing stuff. Anyway, who cares? It's a bad look. It was, you can see why it happened. It's not excusable why it happened, but you can see why it happened. It's not like this fan base is just, pissed off at everything. It's the last 15 years that we've been down. It's the elbow to Fulke in the SEC tournament from Florida. It's, all these other non-calls that go against Tennessee. The Arkansas baseball game, the slide, it's all these things. It's beyond football.
Thanks for bringing that back up. Now I'm pissed off again over a baseball game that happened months ago.
The umpires in baseball, the referees in basketball. I mean, you've got a basketball official whose nickname is TV Teddy because he likes to make himself the show. It's not about these guys wearing stripes. It's about the athletes on the field, on the court. That's who needs to determine the outcomes of games. This conference makes enough money that they should pay the best to officiate, referee, umpire the games that are taking place. And they got to get it right. That
is a thing too. You mentioned the technology. Somebody mentioned earlier, chips and footballs, chips in the line markers. There's got to be something to where, hell, they're going with robots as umpires in baseball. You tell me we can't put something technology-wise in to tell where that football's hitting, there's got to be something. You mentioned earlier, if you want to be the best, there you go. Train these referees, pay them, whatever you got to do more. But the fact that this stuff happens over and over, I don't know. There's times, and I would never want. There's times if I'm Tennessee, I say piss on it. I'm going to the ACC or something. But no, that's not what I want or anything. But at what point is enough with some of this stuff?
So
Swain got up and walked out of the game. He said there was about 4 minutes left. He got up and he said, "I'm sick of watching this football game be disgraced." And he was talking more about the injuries than he was anything else. He got up and left.
I read something that crew that officiated the game was supposed to go to the, I believe it was either the LSU or the Arkansas game, and they petitioned to not have them. So the SEC moved that crew, who, like you said earlier, Boogie, messed up in the Memphis, Mississippi State game.
They got a rap sheet, man. They got a rap sheet a mile long.
They petitioned to not have them, so that they moved them to Knoxville.
Let me hit this super chat, and then we got to move on. I'm done talking about the SEC, but it's a hot topic because of the fine and because of everything Sankey said. But let's hit this super chat. Then this will put a big bow on it, and we'll move on. Evan counts for 10. Thank you, Evan, for the super chat. Says we should start a movement for every Tennessee fan to send a $5 check to the UT Athletics to pay for the $250,000 fine. It would show how much we stand behind the players. I don't know. Would it, or would it just put more money in somebody else's pocket?
The players were pretty appreciative. The tweets and stuff I've seen, they didn't throw off on it. I think it was Butler. He said it is what it is. It's nice to have that. Know the fans have my back out there. I mean, you've got guys out there busting their hind ends, playing their asses off, and it gets taken. I mean, and again, they had opportunities, and then, but there's, if I'm those players, I'm pissed at the officials, and I'm pissed at one more person as well, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. Let's stir up that hornet's nest too. Yeah, a lot of players. And, one of the themes was, how are recruits going to take this? The recruits loved it. They loved the atmosphere. They were fired up. Players were fired up. But let's move on from this. Stephen Dill, real quick, talking about Pruitt's lawyer deal. Stay tuned, Stephen. Got a video coming tomorrow on that. So look for that probably around 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's, Wayne Starnes wants to talk about Joe Milton as well. So let's move on.
What's the Pruitt thing? I haven't seen that.
His lawyer basically gave Tennessee a time frame and said, you got this long or we're coming after you. And Tennessee said, come on, we got a strong defense. So like I said, I got a video coming tomorrow about that. So leave a little to the imagination, fellas. Let's talk about injuries. Talk about, Joe Milton, obviously. We talked about it after the game. There's no excuse for what he did. This team needs Hendon Hooker. Heupel met with the media on Monday, said Hendon Hooker, Tyon Evans, Cooper Mays, all listed as day-to-day. We've heard that before, right? That's what he said about Tyon Evans last week. We're all speculating whether or not Tyon Evans is going to play, doesn't play. He said Cooper Mays. He said everybody but Juwan Mitchell was going to be back. Cooper Mays also didn't play. But Ballquest was talking today saying that Hendon Hooker did a lot more today in practice than people expected. Something else Heupel said was that Hendon Hooker's injury doesn't appear to be long-term. Here's the question that people keep throwing out at me, and I'll throw it to you guys. It's Bama. What are they favored by? 29 points, I think it is. You got a winnable game coming up in Kentucky after a bye week. So you got Alabama, you got a bye week, and then you got a game that gives you an opportunity to get to 7 wins. So the question a lot of people are saying is, do you rest Hendon Hooker? Do you rest Tyon Evans? Do you rest Cooper Mays? Give him an extra week. The place where I come from, boys, if I can't win, I don't play. You want to see you can spit further? I'm going to give it everything I have to beat you. I don't care if we're playing checkers. I don't care if we're bowling. I don't care if we're throwing darts. I'm playing to win. Dauber knows this. Andy Kid, you know it. Played golf with me a time or two. I play to win. I don't come from that school of, I'll sit out and just no. And I think Josh Heupel's going to do the same, Andy Kid. I think he's going to go. He's going to play Alabama, and if guys are healthy, they're going to play, and he's going to try to win.
I mean, yeah. If you go down there and don't play your best, you're going to get absolutely embarrassed and destroyed, and you may get hammered anyway. But I want to go down there, especially if Hooker can play. These other guys can play. I want to go down there and see what I can do with my best. I mean, who knows? Maybe I at least make it a little bit competitive against them. I mean, A&M was expected to get hammered a couple of weeks ago too. We see how that turned out. I don't know that Lightning will strike twice, but yeah, I'm the same way, man. I play to win.
I think you got a little clip that you can have queued up real quick. Don't you, Boogie?
Uh-oh, I don't know what you put me on the spot.
A little Ric Flair clip.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
That's it. Hey, the game is scheduled for Saturday. Let's go down to Tuscaloosa and see what happens.
I'm in, Dauber. I'm in. I don't know. I see a lot of fans talking about it, saying rest them, and I get it. I'm not an idiot. I understand that mindset. The game Saturday's not very likely. It's not. You're looking to get to seven wins. I just don't. That's not how I'm wired, man. That's not what I do. Nate Pruitt with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Nate. We appreciate it. Says referees were horrible. UT could have made some better plays during the game, though. Love the day after report. Indy, great talk, guys. Love it. You're spot on, Nate. You're right. You're exactly right. And that's why we kind of say that is Tennessee had every opportunity to win the game, period. And hats off to Ole Miss for making the plays. Corral, he's a Heisman candidate for a reason. The dude is a ball player. He single-handedly won that game for Ole Miss. He did. But when the officials take so much control, we're going to talk about it. We're going to mention it. Another super chat here. Philip Scout for 5. Thank you, Philip. Tennessee could lose to Bama by 100. I don't care as long as we beat Kentucky. I would take that trade. I think I'd take a loss 100-0. I'm with you, Philip. I'm with you, but I'm going to still go play and try to win that game.
Here's the thing. The thing that frustrates me probably a little bit more than the blown calls, than all the other stuff. And we've talked about it for going back to the Florida game now. Special teams mistakes. You don't fumble the ball in the first quarter on the muff punt to set up Ole Miss's first touchdown. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that this team cannot do in toss-up games. We've talked about it. That's the mistakes that lose you ball games. And it ended up, you can talk about the play that the officials didn't call, the strip fumble for a touchdown, but coughing the ball up inside your territory, giving them short field and momentum to get on the board first, you can't do that.
Let me play some not devil's advocate, because I agree with you. You can't do that. You can't turn it over. But I made a video talking about the quarterback play, and the muffed punt. You got a kid that's trying to make a play and he screws up, right? He screws up. Bayless Jones has been consistent all year long. He's made plays, been solid returning punts. I can excuse that. It's frustrating, and you're right. That type of mistake costs you a game.
We talked about special teams was an area in a close game that they needed to win. So you muff the punt, you cough it up, and then you also miss a field goal. Of course, Ole Miss missed a field goal as well, so that sort of cancels out. But, I mean, come on. That's the things. Look at General Nealon's maxims. If you follow those every week, as simple as they are, you're going to win a whole lot more football games than you lose.
Right, but I think the point I'm making is that's a kid that made a mistake. They were still in the ball game. They still had a chance to win the ball game down the stretch. What pisses me off to no end is the Joe Milton deal at the end. That's what drives me nuts. That's all. Everything that happened, the officiating, the muff punt, the missed field goal. You're right. You make that field goal, guess what? At the end of the game, you're set up perfectly. All you got to do is make a kick, go home with a win. You play 60 minutes for a reason.
Yep.
Every single thing that happens throughout the course of that 60 minutes can impact the outcome. What pisses me off to no end is a guy like Joe Milton going out there and quitting on his teammates. And that's what he did. He quit, Indy Kid.
Yep, sure did. I mean, it's one thing if he would have turned it back, put his head down, maybe gotten a block or two and had a chance. He ran to the 9-yard line and stepped out of bounds because he was afraid he was about to get plowed. He's a quitter, man. I mean, again, these guys have been out there busting it all night long, dealing with these freaking flops and everything else. And Joe Milton come in. Yeah, he quit. He quit because he ran out of bounds with no time on the clock, did not even give his team a chance to win the game. I mean, if he had enough time to get 2 quick passes off if he would have did it. Instead, I understand getting rolled out, but you cannot do that when the clock says 0 and you got a chance to get it into the end zone.
And here's the thing. You're talking about a 250-pound quarterback with a frame of a tight end or a bigger running back. If you're going to take off and not throw the ball into the end zone, which is really what needs to happen with 3 seconds left.
But I think I got to cut you off for 2 seconds because kind of people are questioning in the chat, did he quit versus mental mistake?
Yes.
And that's the thing. Dauber, you're right. It's a mental error to not throw the ball. But
Right.
once you make that decision to run,
You've got
he stepped out of bounds, he quit.
You can't step. You lower your shoulder and you try to run somebody over and get in the end zone. There were 3 seconds left. That's my point. The play should have gone to the end zone. When it didn't, it's on you to get in the end zone or turn around and lateral it to somebody. The game is over. You've got to make something happen. You don't just step out of bounds.
The bottom line is he knew he was going to get lit up. If he cut back, there was one guy in front. I rewatched it about 15 times. There's one guy in front of him. Indy Kid, you talked about him cutting back. There's also a guy pursuing him from the side. He cuts back. He's probably going to get lit up. I don't think he likes contact. We've said it all year. He's a big physical guy, but he looks odd when he goes to make contact. Like he tries to get down, like he doesn't want to get hit. But to address what everybody's saying in the chat, I think it is both. I think it's to what Dauber said. It's a mental mistake because you got to throw the ball first of all. Put it up, 50-50 ball, something. Give somebody a chance. What you did gave nobody a chance to make a play. Absolutely no chance to make a play. And that's what leads me to this. And yes, I made a video on it. We kind of touched on it in the post-game show, but I'm going to bring it up again because it deserves to be talked about. If Hendon Hooker can't go on Saturday, who are you rolling out? Because and something we didn't talk about is the message board rumor mill, and Austin Price kind of touched on it and basically confirmed it. He didn't say it, but his words kind of makes me think that it's truth, is that Harrison Bailey wants to redshirt. He doesn't want to play, and he wants to transfer. And that's why you're seeing he's not getting in the game. So I would assume that Joe Milton's going to get trotted out there if Hendon Hooker's not healthy.
That's what's going to happen. I wouldn't put him out there, but I'm not making the decisions on it. I mean, Harrison Bailey can play in 4 games and still preserve a red shirt.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, who gives you a better shot against Alabama? I don't know. Milton, I just don't see how you put him back out there. I don't see how you turn around and reward him for that play.
Oh, Vols
But
JP
at
in
the
the
same
chat
time,
there. That's a big point right there.
Yeah,
Bailey.
yeah.
I mean, you're talking about an offensive line. It's another point I was going to bring up later, but because what JP says, it kind of fits in. Something that Swain was talking about again is offensive line depth. He was talking about fourth quarter. You got Marcus Pierce in the backfield taking a handoff. That's a walk-on. He's running behind Ollie Lane, who has got some playing time this year. He's had to because, Cooper being out. He's running behind Ollie Lane, Jackson Lampley, and Dane Davis. That's where this team was at depth-wise late into a game that they had a chance to win with 3 seconds on the clock. Tell me Josh Heupel's not getting more out of less. He's making chicken salad out of, chicken crap.
I mean, you look at it. What he's doing with this team, making them competitive against number 13 team, a half against Florida. Of course, they melted down a bit with mental mistakes. These guys they're earning their money this year. We're seeing some excellent coaching. Again, I'll say it. I cannot wait to see what they can do once they get an actual SEC roster.
A full roster, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so encouraging, seeing the fact that these guys they're not plateauing, that you see them kind of taking those steps each week to get better. And some of it is, out of just plain necessity because there's nobody left to plug in. But Donovan hits it right here. And I said this last Tuesday. This defense and Tim Banks, they have impressed me so much this year. That they have played out of their mind. You've got guys stepping up, making plays, being, impact players that we had no clue. They weren't even on the radar, and they're coming in and they're, SEC Defensive Player of the Week with what, 13 tackles, and you don't even know you're playing until Friday night before the game. Stuff like that. That's getting the most out of those kids.
Look at Matthew Butler on the defensive line, and I'm not taking anything away from what he's done throughout his career. He's playing himself into the NFL right now. Absolutely. Under Rodney Garner. Yeah. Playing himself
well,
in the NFL.
You saw Omari Thomas play out Saturday. I thought Tim Banks had a good game plan. Tennessee just doesn't have the horses at linebacker to be able to contain a Matt Corral.
Exactly. Same thing with Emory Jones in Florida.
And we got questioned on that in the post-game show because we both were in agreement that Tennessee was spying Corral and they were trying to do some things to contain his run. And Heupel touched on it post-game and said, we did have it in the game plan. It was just a matter of execution. So you think that they're getting paid millions of dollars and don't know that they need to contain Matt Corral. Let me get caught up on Super Chats here. Culberson 5344 for 5. Thank you for the Super Chat. Sir says exactly. Jones made a mistake, but he also gave us a chance at the end. What did Milton give us? Enough is enough. Effort should matter. That's everybody in this chat knows that I was a Milton guy. I was behind Milton until sadly around the time he got hurt. But what I can't excuse, and I said this in the video I made, if you're out there giving your all, and it goes back to Bayless Jones, I feel like he's giving his all. He's doing everything he can. He just made a mistake. It's like Dauber. How many times you been on the tee box and you hit one in the woods? You're still doing your best, but you know what I mean? It's just a mistake. It wasn't lack of effort. I cannot tolerate. I can't put up with it. There's a huge difference.
And don't get me wrong. I wasn't giving Jones down the road for muffing a punt.
You got to clean that up.
I was saying the point we've made since the Florida game is we've had too many mistakes on special teams, and that was an area the first 3 games that we exceeded in. We really played well in special teams, and then we give up 2 touchdowns. We're giving up long returns. We're missing field goals. We fumble a ball. Those are things that they're simpler things in the scheme of offense, defense. I know you still got to execute, but I mean, he was calling for a fair catch.
It's a simple play. It's a play he's made a million times.
And, and I have full faith that he makes that play 99 times out of 100. That was just the one time he doesn't. And you're right. He is. That wasn't his goal. That wasn't his intention. It was just a failure to execute. But that's something that in the scheme of things, in a game that you're calling a toss-up, that you've got to be better than the other team in.
They've lost special teams battle 4 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
2 weeks it didn't matter. 2 it did.
Evan Counts for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, Hell Milton has the frame of a Dodge Ram 2500 dually with a Hemi. He didn't put it to use. He did not put it to use. Donovan Milliken for 10. This is what Dauber commented on a little bit earlier. I hope Tim Banks stays for a long, long time. I hope this entire coaching staff, I feel like they have a good coaching staff on both sides of the ball. I hope they stick around. I think it's going to be crucial for Josh Heupel's success is to keep this coaching staff together. Let's switch gears here. Let's take a question from the Facebook group. TK81 says, Go Braves. This is a good question. I like this question. I think Landon's in the chat. Landon Baldwin over in the Facebook group. He says, who is the one guy you're most disappointed in and also most impressed with this far this season? Any kid, I'll put you on the spot. Go first. Who has disappointed you the most and who has impressed you the most?
I don't know that I'm really disappointed in anybody.
If I could give you a big one.
I mean,
the easy one.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Milton's the easy one, but not all that surprising with Milton. I mean, we saw it before he got here. Obviously, we've said it. There's the potential, but nothing proven. At one point, I was disappointed in the secondary. I think these guys have gotten better and stepped up. Linebackers have gotten better. I don't know, unless there's somebody I'm forgetting about. Maybe it's some of the younger wide receivers that I thought maybe a Callaway and, of course, Hyatt's starting to come on. But I don't. That would be my pick. Would be the younger wide receivers. Just I thought they had a lot of potential with their speed. Sticking with that same thing, surprise. And Cedric Tillman's a baller. Guy can play. And we had heard it about how he was doing good things, but yeah, he's doing it in the games as well. So, I mean, I would probably go just young receivers in general. Jawan Mitchell. Yeah, that's a good one. Didn't think about that. We thought that was going to be I said it. I said he's going to be better than Totoa.
The hard part about him is him getting banged up. So you don't really get a full grasp on. Maybe he just had a slow start. He could have got better. Could have been he needed more time in the system. That's a tough one for me to put a kid on blast that what did he play? Four games before he got hurt?
Yeah, somebody just picked. I was going to say Tillman's one. Theo Jackson will be my other one. He's played his hind end off this year.
What about you, Darver? What do you got most disappointed and most impressed with?
I hate to label any of these kids as a disappointment, but I was expecting Mitchell to kind of come in and really firm up the linebacking group. When we're talking about this group, you're talking about Banks was the biggest returning, guy. We got some other guys that kind of fill in and they have some potential, but you're talking about another Power 5 guy who played pretty well at times at Texas. Maybe he never got going and never reached his potential, but that I guess could be labeled as a disappointment that he never got to reach his potential and then he got hurt. I don't want to label him a disappointment. Man, as far as who I'm impressed with, offensively, it's hard to argue against Hooker coming in. You've got Small and Evans running the ball, but we kind of hoped that those guys would fill the gap for what we lost in Chandler and Gray, and they've played well. Defensively, man, I'm going to stick with Banks as the coordinator and what he's getting out of the entire defense. Because you look at the first 3 or 4 games, you're talking about as a defensive unit, up in the nation in stopping the run. Of course, then we go down to Gainesville and we get ran all over by their quarterback. But this team statistically, defensively, they've already pretty much surpassed every category that last year's team did. I think they're maybe one behind in sacks over a 10-game period, and we played, 7? So for me, it's defense as a whole, and specifically Banks and the coaching staff, what they're getting out of those guys.
I'm going to take the easy road and say disappointments Milton, just because I was so high on him going into the year, and everything you heard coming out of practice was how he was hitting the deep ball, how good he looked. And you can see it. We can all see the physical tools that kid has. Just couldn't put it together. And that's a huge disappointment. And Hendon Hooker's been great, man. He has been fantastic. This is his team now, 100%. I'll go Aaron Beasley for most impressed. I thought it was going to be Juwan Mitchell, Jeremy Banks running the linebackers. And we saw it early and often that they were kind of rotating those guys. They were playing Solomon and they were playing Aaron Beasley. And I'm like, why are they rotating these guys in so much? And they've really come on. Aaron Beasley's a baller. I think he's going to be a kid that we're all behind for the next few years. He's a baller. Blitz 621 for 5. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. It says, love this coaching staff and this team. Looking forward to watching seasons to come. Go Big Orange. I agree, Blitz 621. The future is bright. I'm excited about this staff as well. Here is Anarchy Plays for 5. Thank you for the super chat. You think Milton was afraid of overthrowing the end zone, and that's why he decided to run it. I don't know. It's kind of a bang-bang play. Kind of got ping-pong balled around the pocket a little bit, kind of got turned around, and then at that point I think it was fight or flight, and he took off. And that's fine. Like, it is what it is. That part I can understand. That's where I can say it was a bang-bang play. He made a mistake. I'm okay with it. What I'm not okay with is stepping out of bounds. Not okay with that. Not okay with that.
You've got to know the situation. I mean, how many the two of you have been in Neyland. How many points in that stadium is there a clock with how much time is left?
Walking up to the line of scrimmage, that's the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Unless you're a complete idiot. Maybe that's the case. Let me say, let me say this. We do have 300 people watching live right now. I've not done this all night, so I got to do it now. Please go ahead and smash that thumbs up just below the video. We would greatly appreciate it. I don't know where we're at right now. I've not even mentioned it. Looks like we got 147 thumbs up. So let's try to get it to 200 before we go off air. So just do us a favor. Be signed into Google. Hit that thumbs up. It's driving on up now. We appreciate it. Also, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. Just go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. You can see we got multiple designs, color schemes. You just click on whatever style you want, and then you got the color options below. But any and all support, greatly appreciated. We are slowly on that crawl to 10,000 subscribers. I think we are about 60, 70 away from 9,000. I think when we get to 10,000, we are going to do a huge giveaway. We'll give away some merchandise, or if you guys come up with any other crazy ideas like Dabra shaves his beard, maybe we can do that. But help us get to 10,000. Like, you guys make it what it is. Hit the share button. Tell somebody about Talkin VAWLS. Also, somebody in the Facebook group today said that they picked up some merchandise, which we appreciate. Post it on Twitter. Tag us at Talkin VAWLS Pod, or post it in the Facebook group. I want to see you guys rocking that Talkin VAWLS merch. So if you pick something up, post those pictures, tag us in it, all that good stuff. We'll retweet it. But I would love to see that. Also, just a quick reminder, we'll be live Saturday, obviously immediately following the game, but we're also going to do a tailgate show. We're going to go an hour. Normally it's an hour. We're going to go an hour and 15 minutes. You guys, you'll have to remember that. I know you two will forget. I'll have to remind you. Hour and 15 minutes. The reason why, we're going to stick to the fan call-in deal. All the members of the channel, you'll have access to come on, hang out, talk with us. But also, we're going to have the 157 show back on with us, Jonathan Ward. He did the scouting report for Alabama with me last night. A lot of people were very positive about that, which is cool. He's an Alabama fan. He's trying to build a YouTube channel similar to ours. So support those guys. He's going to come on and hang out, as well as Antonio Bryce, comic book writer, creator, and Alabama fans. You guys will have the opportunity to yell at them, and it should be fun. So That's all the plugs and everything out of the way. Let's get into this Alabama game. Not going to go too in depth again. Go check out the scouting report that I did with the 157 show. Really good information. I said when I had him on, I was like, I do the best I can in these scouting reports, but there's only so much time in a day, so much time in a week that I can sit down and watch other games. And does it drive you guys nuts when you see like I don't know if you're watching SEC now or even game day and they're talking about Tennessee and you can tell they have no idea what they're talking about because they've not watched Tennessee play. They're just taking, the stats or the narrative. So it was good to get him on. So go check out the scouting report, but let's get into it. Predictions. Which one of you clowns wants to go first?
Go ahead, Dauber.
So,
Well played.
I was watching the baseball.
Yeah.
Man, you hate the way the schedule falls after the game that we had this past Saturday. It just, that's one of the ones that I'd like to have South Alabama this week instead of Alabama. Especially given Alabama lost 2 weeks ago. They came out and they played pretty much up to Alabama standard last week. And Tennessee had the game they had with all the negativity and circumstances and still came out with the shot to win. I think Tennessee's going to come out and play their all. Because I don't think this staff wants to go sit people or, just get through the bye week and then to Lexington. Like I said, the game's scheduled for Saturday. They're going to go down there and play. It's just this is going to be one of those that it's going to be glaringly obvious the depth and the talent disparity between the number 3 or 4 ranked team versus Tennessee right now. I think Alabama will cover. I've seen anywhere between like 27.5 to 29. I think. I think it's going to be. I'm going to say 41-17.
I was trying to think back to. I made Jonathan pick the game on the scouting report. That's pretty close to what he said. It was actually pretty comical because he was like, he was trying to be nice and hype up Tennessee. He's like, oh, their offense really good, what y'all have done, scored a lot. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going 41-14 Alabama. It's like, that's a close game. Come on, man. What do you got, Indy Kid?
I could say it too. It depends on if Hooker plays. If Hooker
big time, yeah.
Hooker plays, I'll say Bama 45, Tennessee 21. Hooker doesn't play, I'll say about 45-10.
You're spot on with right where I'm at. I'm going Alabama 45, Tennessee 24. I think they're going to score some points, but it's like you said.
My gosh.
Braves just lost.
No, Dodgers tied it.
Welcome to Talking Braves with the Indy Kid.
You must be one pitch ahead of me.
I would hate if we had a show to do here, fellas. Y'all want to shut her down and go watch the Braves? We can just shut her down. Anybody want to come on and talk football with Boogie? Fallout Zone agrees with the Indy Kid. It's gonna come down. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be close, but depending on what Tennessee can do on offense, is Tylen Evans even gonna play? I don't know if Tylen Evans is even gonna play. And what's the offensive line look like? It's just too many injuries. Too banged up, and that's why I completely understand when people talk about look, all kinds of people just trying to take y'all's seat. Soon as a joke comes up, I'm in. UT Punkin, Nate Turner, all kinds of guys lining up ready to go. I just don't know who's healthy, and I get the people that let's sit guys out, let's get healthy, let's take the bye week and let's go beat Kentucky.
Let's put our foots on their throats in Tuscaloosa and then get to the bye week and go to Lexington and put our foots on the throats of the Cats. How about that?
I'm about to just wrap the show. Everybody's checked out now. Everybody wants to watch the Braves. Everybody's done with Talkin VAWLS. Colton Butler wants to come on. All right, I'm wrapping this show up. Leave your predictions in the comments. Let us know what you think. What's your score prediction? Also, let us know what would you do? Would you bench players? Would you rest players? Would you get healthy for Kentucky? Or you going to give your all for Tennessee on Saturday? But that's going to wrap it up for this one. He's Dauber. He's the Indy Kid. I'm Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls on